Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another installment of Flyer Gonna Flyer, our 49th episode. We are just one episode away from our milestone 50th episode. And folks, we got a good one for you this week. We're going to be doing a little bit of a transition into next season talk. You know, the off season's pretty much done now. We're slowly going to be talking into next season. All the moves have been made. We're going to be talking about things that we're excited for next year, things that we might be a little nervous for next year. And then we're going to play a little game of points predictions, over under. We're going to do the top 6 players on the team. Mitchkov, Konechny, Zegras, Forster, Tippett, and Couturier. So we'll work with those 6 players, particularly in general, and do a little over-under, give little brief explanations why. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to give a little bit of a breakdown if we think it's pivotal that the team makes the playoffs this year. And if not, what year do we feel like they have to start making the playoffs by? But with that being said, we got a good one for you guys this week. No Jamey. He will be back next week for sure, though. He has some family stuff he's got to deal with. He'll be back on our 50th episode that we'll be having coming up. Excited for that. We will have a special announcement, by the way, on the 50th episode for a major guest that we're going to be having on a future episode. Not giving anything away yet, but you're going to want to tune in for our 50th episode because we will have a major announcement to make on a particular big guest that we're going to be having sometime in September. But with that being said, let's move on to the man to my right. As always, you know him. You'll love him. He's been with us for a year now. Eric, Filibuster Martino. Eric, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh, not bad, Alex. Not bad. Really busy, a little stressed there. As you know, I'm actually leaving for Italy tonight, so a lot of last minute things to do, last minute packing, money exchange, blah blah blah, all that bullshit before we get going. So I'm stoked, buddy.
The last week before a travel like that is always so stressful. I remember when I went to Cancun in 2020 for my buddy's post-bachelor, well, not post-bachelor, for his bachelor party. Happened right when COVID just hit its peak too, funny enough. All the crap you were mentioning, the money exchange, how much packing you had to do, make sure you had every little thing, have your passports intact, have your documentation filled out, especially going overseas. It's stressful. It is. I get that, believe me. What part of Italy are you going to?
We're doing a lot of Italy because I have my hometown where my mom's at. It's close to it's between Rome and Naples. So we're staying there. Then we're making our way to Bologna, to Florence, a couple other stops here and there.
Okay.
And yeah, that's good. It's gonna be fun.
You're going to have a good time over there for sure. You better bring back some homemade good Italian food. That's for sure. I have family in Naples, and my girlfriend Nicole, she has family in Abruzzi. So I definitely got some ties to Italy here as well. I want to go to Italy one day so bad. I've never been overseas.
It's beautiful. It's
furthest I've ever gone out of country is Cancun, but Italy is definitely on my to-do list. That and Germany are the 2 countries I want to see the most.
Actually, yeah, we actually wanted to do like a little me and my wife do like a little 2-3 day excursion to Zurich. We were looking into that to go to Switzerland, but just the way that days fell because my son's a pretty big soccer fan and he wanted to go watch a game. So it just so happened that the last weekend that we're there is the first weekend of Serie A. So the soccer season starts. So it's like, okay, we promised him we take him to a game. So we're like, okay, forget it.
Can't drop the kids off with the family and you guys get away. That'd be too convenient.
Yeah. Well, anyway. It's all right. We're taking a little, instead of going to Zurich, we're just going to go to Florence for 2 days, just me and my wife. So
before we start, I do want to show you guys something. I'm going to turn my monitor real quick. Do you like my new setup over here with my new Philadelphia Flyers card setup and a few little mini figurines that I have there? I needed to get that over there. I'll take a full picture to put on my Twitter account so you guys can all see later on. But that's something I actually was going to show you guys off air, but I completely forgot. So there's a lot of good pictures, a handful of signees on that thing. Nicole got me the cabinet for it for my birthday, so I got it all set. Looking nice. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get in. We got a good one for you guys this week. So, as I stated, we're on to next season. We're going to transition into some stuff for next season. And we're going to start with some things that we might be looking forward to this year. So I want to have each of us give at least 3, things that excite us, that we feel like are going to potentially improve, players that could break out. It could be anything. So, Eric, what is your first number one big excitement that you're looking for this season?
Well, for me, one of my biggest excitements would actually be the young kids and see like what they can do. Like Emil Andre, like is he gonna take that next step and like solidify himself like a spot on like permanently in the lineup? Like we've said previously, this is gonna be a big camp for Andre. This is like a shit or get off the pot season for him. Like we need to know what you are. Same thing with Gronz. Like I really liked what I saw for him last year. Like could he maybe take another step? Alex Bump. Like can he turn that like success that he had late in the season with the Phantoms? Like can he parlay that, let's say, into a permanent spot into the lineup? So I'm really excited about him, and that's it. Like Gabrankin, like with the Forster injury, and I don't think Delory is gonna be I don't think Delory is gonna be a fixture on this team for like the whole season. I think at this point he's a 13th or 14th forward. So Grabenkin, could he take a spot on the fourth line? Because like a guy like him makes a lot more sense than having like Bump on the fourth line. Like he's more of a. I'm not saying Bump's not physical. Bump's physical, but like
big body,
I think Grabenkin's game translates more to like a fourth line. Like he could start on the fourth line and maybe wake his way up, but like I wouldn't mind having Grabenkin there, maybe only playing 10, 11 minutes a game rather than having Bump there. Like I think Bump would be better suited for the AHL if he doesn't make the team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, that's one of my that's I would say like the first thing that I'm really looking forward to seeing this season.
The progression of pretty much the progression of the young kids, Andre, Bump, Grabenkin, a lot of what type of steps they're going to take. I like that as a whole. Mine is the power play. Listen, it's no secret the Philadelphia Flyers power play has been an absolute albatross for the last half decade. They've been a bottom dweller. They haven't had a consistent power play since before the bubble. I feel like when they went into the bubble in 2020 is when I feel like everything started going downhill. Because if you remember correctly, that playoff run, they were fucking terrible on the power play. Whether it was the play-in games, a series of Montreal or the Isles, they were terrible on the power play throughout that entire playoff run. It was an absolute catastrophe. And from there on out, things just never got better. It was no secret that Rocky Thompson was not the answer the last 3 years. He's finally gone. They had a Jaroslav, apologize if I botched his name, Jaroslav Svidkovsky. I think I did pretty good with that one. But he was with Rick Tocchet in Vancouver, and Vancouver had about a middle-of-the-pack power play. Now, their system, especially on the power play, has always seemed like to been quality over quantity, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you make sure you convert on those opportunities. But I'm curious to see how much more the power play improves, and I think it's going to improve between the progression of Michkov, adding Trevor Zegras to the fold. Hopefully Tyson Forster's healthy for day one and his potential step forward. Owen Tippett possibly having a bounce back season. Now maybe finally giving Cam York the opportunity he deserves on the power play. People forget so often that for the U.S. National Development Team that he was on the power play for that, the power play QB for that team. So why not give him the opportunity to QB the team again until Jamey Drysdale's up to speed? So I'm looking forward to the power play progressing a little bit. I think that is one of the things that have to take a step forward for this team, and I think it will. I don't expect the power play to be at the bottom of the pack again this season. They have too much talent. They just need the right coaching, the right system, and the right setups for these guys to work. And they have to learn how to enter the zone, and I think they're going to do that. I think Tocchet is going to make that one of the things he emphasizes the most is getting that power play working again. So I look forward to and expect the power play to have some drastic improvement. especially now that they may have some stability in their system now.
Can I give you one? Can I give one?
Let's hear it.
Okay, no, it's a serious one. I'm actually excited because, we've got Ivan Demidov, and I bug you all the time with Michkov. I'm really excited to see that play out in Demidov's first season and Michkov's second season and see the comparison. I'm just really excited to see them both in the league. So legitimately excited for that. Plus, see, I'm a Habs fan, but I'm wearing my Flyer.
You should zoom that in, Rick, and show everyone the nice shirt you wear.
Yeah, I'm going to actually. So here, I'll show you I'm wearing my Flyer gear.
See? He can
Better,
sport
man.
the Flyer
Link in
gear.
the description if you're interested. Link in the description. Let me take
He is a good sport. But yes, as Rick mentioned, link is in the description. If you would like to buy any Flyer gear, we sell hats, shirts, mugs. Hell, we're even working on shoes. So take a look at our store.
There are
link
shoes.
is in the description.
There are shoes for Flyer.
Yeah. Actually, they're already ready.
Yep. All right, I'm taking myself off.
Eric, what is your number 2 thing you're looking forward to this year?
I'm actually going to piggyback a little bit off what you just said. For me, number 2 is the coaching staff in general. I'm like really curious to see like the systems that like Rick Tockett's going to implement. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's just dumping Chase. He's just dumping Chase," and then like you have Michkov is that video that came out a couple weeks ago. There's like, I don't understand this dumping Chase bullshit.
He did. I remember that video.
which he made a lot of valid points. But then there was like an interview or something that Tocchet did like later or something where he said it himself. He goes, it's not all about dumping Chase. He goes, it's basically knowing what to do in certain situations. Like clearly, if you have the puck, if you have possession of the puck and you have a chance to enter the zone with possession, obviously go for it. Like I'm not gonna say dump it every time. But he was just like, it's basically knowing what to do when in certain situations. Like if like you see that, like, yeah, you could control the puck, but like there's 3 guys that are ready to like, 2 defensemen or a forward or something that are clearly obstructing your path. Just dump it in and like and go get that puck. Or maybe the F2 or F1 is gonna go after that puck once you send it into the zone, It's just basically picking and choosing what to do in certain situations. So I'm curious to see like what Tockett's gonna do. And Todd Reardon, like, look, he's taking over for he's replacing Bradshaw essentially, and like we obviously like a lot of us as Flyers fans, we loved the work that Bradshaw did. Like he fucking fixed Risto, like just, and like he's not the only one too. Like look at the season that what is it, Walker, when we got him from LA, the season that he had. He was already a pretty good defenseman when he came, but like a lot of people were just calling this guy a throw-in, and then he had a great season with the Flyers. Like I understand like Cam York last year had a bit of a regression. I think a lot of that had to do with an injury, but just to say that, but the season before he was incredible. So I want to see what Reardon's going to do with the defense. Like, is it going to take a step forward? Is it going to take a step back? I've looked at his credentials. Like he's been a head coach before. He's run defenses before. He's had success in the league. So I'm not too worried, but like, I'd like to see what's going to happen. And then like you mentioned with the power play, like look, is I'm going to butcher his name also, but Yaroslav Sakovsky, I guess. Like
I'm gonna have to check on that name.
Yeah, have to check on the pronunciation, but like, look, could he really do worse? At the end of the day, could he really?
Actually, you can. It went from 32nd to 30th, Eric. We did improve.
Yeah, so I guess, but I think we were still at what 15%, if I'm not mistaken. I think we just or 14.9, whatever we were. But yeah, no, like hopefully he could take that next step in the so we'll see. And then the PK also, going back to Reardon, the PK was last year, took a bit of a step back, but we were still like in the middle of the league, so it was still pretty good. But the year before that, I think we were like top 5 in the league.
Whole year,
so
yep.
We'll see how the PK works. Like hopefully, like if Luchenko makes a team, like you've got that speed, so you could use him as a forward high and like like just keep that like power kill, like, and hopefully like get some shorthanded goals and like keep that pressure on. So Yeah, that's I think number 2 that I'm really looking forward to is the coaching staff.
Funny you mentioned Reardon. I'm going to be bringing him up on the other side of this, and you'll see why. But let's stay with the positive vibes for now. Number 2 for me is how Trevor Zegras is going to be implemented onto this team. It's no secret how bad the Flyers centers just as a whole were last year. Sean Couturier is not a 1C anymore. We all know that. With all the injuries he's had and all the mileage he has on him just as a whole, his best days are far behind him. But he did improve from 2 years ago. It looks like his injuries are a bit of the thing of the past. But this team still didn't really have a true number 2 center or 1 center. Couturier was probably the closest thing to that. If you want to count him, he's maybe a low-end 2C at best. But same thing with Noah Cates. He's more of a 3C that plays more on the wing that just got transferred over to the center because they were so weak at the position. And, Ryan Paling, he's a bottom 6 guy. He's now gone. So it's no secret they had some issues down the middle. The addition of Trevor Zegras gives you a guy who has that top 6 talent and potential that could really mix with this team well. He has such a high hockey IQ, just like a good friend of ours, Matvei Michkov, and his skill set with the puck is ridiculous. His puck handling is fantastic. And outside of Michkov, I don't think there's a guy with any more pure hockey skill and potential than what Trevor Zegras has on this team. And I'm just curious as a whole of what he's going to bring, whether it's going to be the way he enters the zone with his puck prowess and his ability to dangle out defenders, with what he can do from the playmaking position. Maybe he sneaks a Michigan on us that we've been waiting for so long. Now we got 2 guys who are damn good at the Michigan that could potentially do it. But, and thank God John Tortorella isn't there for that. He'd have a stroke. But no, in all seriousness, I'm excited about what Zegras can bring. He has 2 60-point-plus seasons under his belt. We know what he did when he first entered the league. And now that he's got an opportunity for a fresh start, where he's definitely going to get top 6 minutes when he can play with good wingers like Konechny, Michkov, Forster, Tippett, at a constant basis, he has the opportunity to reinvigorate himself, find his game, and now he's playing with his best friend, Jamey Drysdale again. Listen, I know we can joke around with that, but stuff like that can't be pushed aside. Like, finding someone that you feel comfortable with, that gives you a reason to look forward to going to the rink every day. Him and Cam York both. Those are 2 of his best buddies. Now he gets to, have more of a reason to look forward to going to the rink because he was miserable in Anaheim his last year or 2. This kid's going to have a true chance to really refine his game, become the player he was a couple of years ago, and maybe even smash a higher ceiling. He's got so much skill, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do to not just elevate other players' games, but have all the wingers around him elevate his game to a new level. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that if everything goes right, he could push 70-plus points this year. I really do. I think if, you find the guy in Anaheim from 3-4 years ago, he's only 24. It's not like he's old. You find that guy again, and he can build off of that and find chemistry here and start playing like the player he was, with all the skill that he has with the puck and ripping the puck and his high hockey IQ and finding the open man, not making dumb decisions. He can put all that together. I think it's a real possibility you could see a 70-plus point season. I'm really excited to see what Trevor Zegras brings here next year. Eric, point number 3.
Number 3 is again piggybacking off of what you just said. It's not only Zegras, but basically all the new additions that we made this offseason, like Zegras, Dvorak, and Vildar, and to a lesser extent Jolson and Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we the Flyers. One thing that they were incredibly lacking, not just incredibly lacking, was center depth on this team. Last year, especially after they traded Morgan Frost, I think Paling was playing 2C for us at one point because it's there's nobody in the organization, So, no, but adding a guy like Ziegler, like you mentioned, that with all that skill that he has, like, and I agree with you. I think he's gonna take that another step with the Flyers this year because you look at it like also a big factor into like his regression the last couple of years is he was hurt. He was dealing with some injuries. So if he could also come back this season, have a healthy off season to train properly, to get back like into that real game shape, come into training camp 100% healthy, ready to go. And also, like you mentioned, like he's got two of his best buddies here. So, and that really helps, that really helps. Like, you're getting into a new organization, a new city. You got two guys, they'll take you around, they'll make you meet the boys, acclimate properly into the team. So, I'm really curious to see what Zegras can do, and like yourself too. I expect him. I expect him to get like close to flirt with 60 points again this year,
Mhm.
100% healthy, and like hopefully if he could stick at center again, that would really really help us out. And then you bring in a guy like Dvorak again. Like I don't see Dvorak as a top six center. He's a bottom six center like every day, but like in a pinch, probably play 2C. But he brings the help in the faceoff dot, and just having a guy like him plus Couturier that could teach and mentor guys like Zegras and Noah Cates to make them into better center, like better face in the face off in the dot. So that's something that we should really look like not admire, what's the word I'm looking for, but like it could really like help out the Flyers because like Zegras is well known to be terrible in faceoffs, and Noah Cates I think is sub 50s. He hovers around the like 47, 48 if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So having a guy like that could help the Vorak, that could help Cates and that could help Zegras, or at worst case you put him on their wing just to take the face off.
Mhm.
So yeah, like the Vorak too. So that was a great addition. I think great contract 1 year, like a little overpaid, like we've said before, but like for 1 year, like who cares? You have to give him that much for 1 year.
And
So
if they're not competing, you can always move them at the deadline and get some more
exactly,
assets. Not a
exactly.
big deal at
It's
all.
low risk. We had the money anyway, so
Yeah.
like doesn't matter. And yeah, like Vladar, like I've mentioned before, I'm high on Vladar, and with the goaltending that we've got the like last year and half of the year before, the last half of the year before, like it was pitiful. Enough for anything. That's what it was. It was pitiful. So if you can have a guy like Vladar come in, like just give you at the very least league average goaltending, alleviate the pressure on Urson, make Urson play less games. If you could do like almost an even 50-50 split, I think you'll get the best out of Urson. You'll get what you're gonna get out of Vladar, which I think, like I said, I believe to be at the very least league average. So just that puts up your save percentage last year. I think I said last week was like 876, the Flyers save percentage, like, and league average was 900. Like, come on, just that extra 20 points. How many more wins could we have gotten? So, well, for me, that's the next thing I'm really really excited to see is how the additions mesh with the team and how it's gonna go.
Not bad. I'm excited for all the additions too. You have talked me more into Vladar over the last few weeks. So I really hope he ends up being a stable 1B here or 2A or whatever you want to call it. I'm excited for that. My number three. Now, the easy thing would be simply saying the progression of Matvei Michkov and what he's going to do next. But for me, I'm going to try to be a little more creative. I'm going to go to the decor, and I want to see the next step that Jamey Drysdale takes.
Mm.
Listen, I think in the second half of the year, it was pretty apparent he was his team's best defenseman. We emphasized everything Bradshaw did here between fixing Risto, fixing Sean Walker, getting the trade value we did for him. Now you kind of saw it on Jamey Drysdale too. This guy is a defensive whisperer. And listen, I hate the fact that he went to the Devils. What a friggin'... I even said it like this is going to be a great ad for the New Jersey Devils, that he is going to be their defensive coach now. But I'm curious to see how much Jamey Drysdale game progresses. He's got a brand new coaching staff here. And I remember John Tortorella specifically saying that they need to completely revise his game, not revive. Revise and fix and do over his game. And you saw in the second half of the year between Jamey mentioning his recovery from the core muscle surgery and expecting he'll be around January that he'd find his game. And Jamey was right. That probably was part of it, was his healing from the core muscle surgery he had over the offseason. But I also think part of it, too, was just elevating his game, getting more acclimated to the coaching prowess of Tortorella and Bradshaw, and revising his game to make it the way that he needs to have it made to succeed in this league. Now, I'm hoping he gets consistent power play time this year. He should, at the bare minimum, on the second power play. I think it should be him in New York. Those are the two guys I want to see on the power play at the beginning of the year. Who gets a 1 QB, who gets a 2 QB, you can debate that. But those two guys should be your two power play quarterbacks, in my opinion. But I'm excited to see now that Drysdale has a full offseason here, that he's healthy and has no surgeries or anything to worry about. Because when they first acquired him in January of 2024 was half a season. And last offseason, he had the surgery. This offseason, he's healthy. I am very excited to see the steps he takes next. I think he is a potential breakout guy here. I truly believe you could see Jamey Drysdale push 40 points this year. I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility at all if he continues that progression and they end up making this power play better. It's kind of a little bit of a stepping stone to my original first point that I made. If the power play continues to progress and Jamey Drysdale continues to progress, I could see him push double-digit goals and 30-plus assists. I do not think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. And I think, as we mentioned ample times on this show, defensemen take longer to marinate. People need to realize that and be patient. Look at Rasmus Ristolainen, for example. Once they fixed his game, he turned out to a legit second-pair defenseman. Look at Travis Sanheim. I know he can be partially the whipping boy here, but he's obviously got good looks around the league. The guy's made Team Canada on the friggin' Four Nations tournament, and it sounds like he might be pushing for a roster spot in the Olympic team as well. So, obviously, he gets good graces around the league, even though we kind of look at him in a different vision here. But I think you can argue he's a good number 2 defenseman. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility to argue. Maybe a number 3 on a cup team, but he could be a number 2 here, at least for the time being. I had no issue with that. I think Jamey Drysdale, if you can get him to hit his prime or what he can be, he could be a 50-plus point guy easily, and he could be the power play quarterback that you needed since Chemo Timonen. This is something this team, well, maybe Shane Gostisbehere would be a better example, because he hit 2018 and 16 Ghost were awesome. But then it was such a short time, I don't know if I can count it as much, but those 2 years Ghost was fantastic. If you can get a guy that amples out, that compares to Shane Gostisbehere, to a Chemo Timonen, guys like that who are consistently good power play quarterbacks that can build up their defensive game just enough to be at a respectable level, that would be massive for this team. Now, I'm not expecting him to be one of the highest point-getting defensemen in the league, but I could see him pushing 50-ish points when he hits his prime. I don't see that as out of the realm of possibility. I think Jamey Drysdale has a lot more still to give to this team. And I think you're going to see him take another step this year. Now that he has a full healthy offseason, he's had his game revived, and he's had revised. Why do I keep saying revived instead of revised? Clip that shit for this week. Now that he's had his game revised, and now that he's had the opportunity to really gain some confidence in himself, and again, to go back to the Zegras point, he's got his best friend here now. That gives you more of a reason to be excited and trained to be here. It's a healthy team. It's a healthy locker room. It's a new start. And this team should be better than next year. Will they be good enough to push for a playoff spot? We'll go over that at the end of the episode. But I am excited to see what Jamey Drysdale could give to this team next. Eric, anything else to add before we move on to the down part?
No, I think we pretty much nailed everything.
Gotcha. All right. With that being said, let's go on to the things that worry about this year. Let me start with you this time, Eric. What is your number one biggest worry about this season?
Well, one of my worries has to be Owen Tippett.
Mm-hmm.
He took a massive step back last year. So, and like I think if I'm not mistaken, right, it was the first year of his new contract. So, he just got paid 6.2 million. He's signed long term, and he took a step back. So, like shots, he took a step back in goals, he took a step back in shots taken, he took a step back on shots that made it through. Like pretty much practically every category that he just basically regressed. Now, he still pushed pace. Like he still he was over 50 in Corsi and uh anyway, in like those metrics that like possession metrics. So he was a plus there. So that's fine. So my big concern is that basically if this is what it is, that contract might look bad in the future. Now it's not a huge number. But still 6.2 is not nothing. But like I do have faith in Owen Tippett. I think he will. I think last year was just one of those outliers that like if you're a goal scorer, like you look at almost any goal scorer in the league, they always have those 1 or 2 years where for whatever reason it just wasn't hitting for them that year. It happens. So I'm hoping that last year was just one of those seasons for Owen Tippett, and that next year he could take that next not a next step, because just get back to what you were. Like just flirting around with 30 goals, but like hopefully like cracking that 30 goal plateau. If he can get to that point, then it's like great. You're living up to that contract and beautiful. But if he regresses again or stays pretty much what he was last year, then it might start getting a little concerning.
Can I talk? Can I throw an opinion? Do you think
Yeah, what's
maybe? Do you think maybe Tippett wasn't the biggest Tortorella guy? Had a bad year. You're bringing in a new coach. I think it's a coach that players like. I think he could have a really good season. And that's my opinion.
It was weird because the season before that, also under Tortorella, he played really well. He had
He
I
broke
guess
out
like
under
a
Tortorella.
career year for him. Like
I
it was
get
his
it.
best season.
Last season, Tortorella had some problems with some players.
That is accurate.
So
That's true.
might
No,
be
you're right.
something. I think there might be something there, and bringing in Talkett might be just what he needs. I kind of think
Could
so.
be, and that's a definite valid point. Like Tippett broke out under Tortorella, but Tortorella really started. I think Tortorella really the first major seed of Tortorella losing the locker room was planted the year prior when he helped you scratch your captain weeks after naming him captain. I think that sent a ripple effect in the locker room that pissed everyone off, and it kind of trickled into this year.
And it
just got worse and worse. But yeah, Rick, that is a valid point.
Yeah.
I think that could be part of it.
And also also quick. I think also one thing that might have hurt Tippett last year was, I think, again, I have nothing to go on, but like I just by watching him, is that maybe he tried to change his game a little bit, because he's a shooter. He's a volume shooter. He goes into the zone with possession and just rips the puck. But that's what he is. That's the type of player he is. I think last year he tried to change his game into becoming more of a playmaker, to try and maybe pass up on shots and just maybe trying to make, because he was playing with Mishkov a good, like not a good chunk of the season, but like, so maybe he's like passing up on shots to try and make a play to Mishkov or to force.
Maybe that's coaching though. Maybe that's coaching from Tortorella.
I don't know if it was the coaching or if like he was hearing. I don't know if he's like one of those players that just listens, like he's online a lot and like listens to fans, and it's like, oh well, maybe I'm shooting too much and like I should try and pass more. And like I don't know. Like again, I don't know the guy personally, so I couldn't tell. But like I think maybe that's also a reason why he struggled last year. Is he tried to change his game too much. He just has to simplify his game, play to your strength, because that's what got you that contract. That's what's going to make you successful in this league.
Agreed. Talkett's that kind of coach going to tell him that too.
I would hope so.
All right.
Your strengths.
My first down. So going back to a point that you made when you mentioned, Eric, that you're excited about the coaching. I am too, but there's one coach that I am a little worried about and what this team does. You mentioned it, and it was a very valid point. The penalty kill took a bit of a regression last year. They went from top 5 to about middle of the pack. They have a new PK coach now. Bradshaw's gone. The guy who pretty much revived all these defensemen's careers, whether it be Walker, Risto, Drysdale, he was like the D-man whisperer. He's now gone. He's in New Jersey. You added Ton Reardon. I'm worried about what the penalty kill is going to look like throughout the season. I will say this, having a new voice after having that much success in your decor and having the guys pretty much have their careers transformed in a positive perspective. And I'm going to a guy like Reardon, who, well, last I heard, I think he was coached with the Capitals last, but he was a power play coach there, which is not what he's doing this time. Now he's a PK guy here. Caps fans did not exactly have the nicest things to say about him as the power play coach. Now, mind you, again, it's two completely different things. Now he's working on the kill. So we'll see. It might not be as bad, but I worry about the loss. I think it's more the loss of Brad Shaw than the addition of Todd Reardon. Because losing Brad Shaw has not been discussed enough, I believe, amongst our fan base. Is losing Brad Shaw going to have a potential ripple effect on the progression of some of the defensemen that we have had take these positive steps? Now, Ristolainen, we're not going to find out about him till later in the year. He had tricep surgery. He's not going to be ready for opening night. We already know that. Whenever he's back, is he going to be the player that he was prior? Is he going to be making the same decisions that he was prior? Or are they going to completely try to revamp his game? What's Drysdale going to look like? I know I said in a positive perspective, I expect Jamey Drysdale to break out, but I still worry about what the de-coaching is going to pretty much emphasize towards them. It's not more the player, but the way they're coached. York and Sanheim, how are they going to emphasize them? Are they going to completely bobble up the pairs? I look at this and I wonder how much of an impact the loss of Brad Shaw is going to have on this team. Because losing Brad Shaw, he did a lot more good than bad. I don't think I've ever seen a coach that the fan base clamored for in a positive perspective as much as they did for Brad Shaw. His fan base was so bummed when he left. And I understood it. You know, Shaw was the interim guy. Team played half decent under him. Then he goes to Jersey after they named, after he did not get the head coaching position over Rick Tocchet. So I'm wondering how things are going to be. Will Todd Reardon at least be able to pretty much pick up where Brad Shaw left off and continue the positive progression of the defenseman? Or is things going to be pushed in a different direction that could potentially do more harm than good? I'm hoping this team can progress continuously on the blue line with the new voice pretty much leading the blue line. Because Brad Shaw, as I just mentioned, he was the D-man whisperer. And I'm hoping that they can take a step forward again, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have any concerns. That's for sure. Eric, anything to add, or do you want to add point 2?
No, I'll go to point 2 because it's a little bit of like, again, touches on what you were saying. But like one of my second major concern is injuries in general. A couple of the guys, like, look, like someone like Couturier. Now, like he got better the second half of the season and he didn't deal with as much injuries. But at the end of the day, it's always in the back of your head. It's like, is this guy gonna get hurt again? Now it's like twice he hurt his back. He's had knee issues in the past. Now, what I like what the Flyers did is that they addressed the center position in the offseason. So in case you do lose Couturier, you've added Dvorak, you have Zegras, Cates can now play center. So there are replacements now, but like at the end of the day, like Couturier is a big part of this team. Like he is a former Selke winner, and he did play well defensively like last year. Like he got back to it, like not at the level he was prior, but at least to a level where he's still one of your best shutdown guys. So his injuries are concerned. Risto, like as much as we love what he's become now that like again, like we say, like Shaw fixed him. So now, but like it's twice now he's hurt his tricep. So it's like, how many games is he gonna play for us this year? You know, and he could be a major part of this defense, but he has to be healthy. So like we know that I think he's missing, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's missing camp. He won't be ready for camp. So
yeah, I doubt he's ready for opening night either.
Exactly. So like you don't want a situation where you rush yourself back and then you're just not 100% and you're always playing catch up. like what happened to like York last year. I think York came back too early, and he was playing catch up the rest of the season, and he struggled. Same thing with like remember like Farabee a couple years ago, like Torrella's first year. He should never have come back to start the season. He was not ready, and he came back and he had an awful season. And I don't know if that's something that set his career back because now like look at what became of Farabee. You have York now, like with not York, sorry, but Forster with the infection in his elbow, and like I don't know about you, but I have not heard any update on this whatsoever. So like
I
that's
sent a message to Anthony DeMarco when he had his mailbag, and I'm hoping he'll respond to it. I don't know if he released the mailbag yet, but I haven't heard anything either. They usually say no news is good news, but if there was good news to be reported, I feel like they would have said something. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, is he going to be ready to start the season? Is it going to be 100%? Because now, like, obviously, he can't train in the off season, so because of the injury. So, what's Forster going to be? And again, him too. I don't like, especially a player as young as Forster, and that has the potential that I think he has. That with the player that he can be, I don't want him to feel like he has to rush back to like again. I go back to Farabee. Like it was Torrella's first year, so he felt that he had to rush back so that he could impress the coach and be ready for day one. I don't want Forster to have that mentality that I have to impress Talkett and I have to be here as soon as I can. And like I'm really hoping that this new regime is like no, like takes the kid aside and be like, no, listen, like you're very important to this organization, and we see like don't rush back, come back when you're 100% ready to come back, you know. And like York life from last year too. Like again, injured at the start. This he got hurt like 4 or 5 games into the season, and then it was never the same for the rest of the season because I think he rushed back also. So yeah, so injuries for me are like a little bit of a concern going into this season, but like hopefully they could rehab properly, get ready, don't rush back, and just be ready when you're ready. We're not looking to compete for a cup this year. We're looking to take a step, but not compete for a cup. So there's no point in hurting yourself and hurting your career because then if you rush yourself back, you're just gonna set yourself back. So that's my number 2.
Valid. Honestly, durability is a very underrated discussion point in this, especially with over the years with the guys you mentioned, Couturier, Ristolainen, now Forster potentially. Drysdale's had his share of injuries. Zegras has had his share of injuries. That is a very valid point. I wasn't even going to mention that, but honestly, now I kind of wish I did. My number 2, this one might catch you a little bit off guard. Travis Konechny. Now,
okay.
Travis Konechny, why him? He just had a career breakout in points. Here's my issue. TK was great in the first half of the year. I think he put up 20 goals in the first half. Lights out. We looked like he was on pace for a 90-point season. Second half of the year, he had 4 goals. That's it. And the points started wavering a bit. He wasn't really putting up the production. Now, mind you, he still had a career high in points, and that's great. He had what? It was a 76-point season, I believe. Something right around that.
Like that.
I can't remember the exact number, but it was in the mid-70s somewhere. But still, career season, best season of his career, points-wise. But if you take that second half on, it's probably maybe a 50-point pace, if roughly give or take, because the way he was going in the first half of the year, he looked like he was pushing for well over 90 points, and then it just faded. So we got to the end of the year. They had the discussion points like, hey, we were all saying, Konechny's got to be playing through something. He's hurt. It's got to be that game he had against the Devils where he took that weird shot. He hasn't been the same since. He said it himself. He was healthy. Wasn't hurt. Wasn't playing through anything.
I call bullshit on that, though.
And that got me a little nervous. Now, mind you, TK's always been like this where he starts extremely well and then kind of fades a little bit. But that was taken to a bit of an extreme last year. To only get 4 goals in the last, maybe 2.5 months of the year, that's concerning to me. Now, I'm not saying Konechny's going to fall off a cliff. I'm not saying he's going to be terrible this year and only put up 40 points or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But it is worth looking at the fact that his goal scoring went down that much. And could a lot of it have been mental? Yeah, probably. Having the chance to reset in the offseason and train and get rid of all those negative tendencies can do so much for you. But I'd be lying if I wasn't concerned about that second half drop off. Now, he could easily come out this year, blow up, put up 90 points, and say, Alex, I fucking told you, as he has a 35 goal, 55 assist, career high broken again season. But we look at the big picture, and a lot of those points were elevated because he was playing on a line with Matvei Michkov. He was on the first line. He was picking up a lot of assists when Matvei was on that goal-scoring explosion. Him and Tyson Forster both. I don't think he was playing with Tyson as much, but he was playing with Matvei. And that was elevating his point total a little bit. So I want to see Konechny have a consistently good year. I'd rather Konechny come out and give me 12, 13 points every month and get me an 80-plus point season or whatever it is, 15 points a month. So 6 months in a season, whatever, a nice 80-point season where he consistently gets 13 to 15 points a month, than him getting me 20, 25 in the first half and then tamper off and get me 6 to 8 points in the second half every month. So his end of the season concerned me a little bit. I want to see Konechny play with consistency more than spurts. I'm a little worried. This one isn't as big as point number one, but I wanted to do something a little bit bold. And bringing out Konechny's struggles in the second half, I think is something that we do have to watch for. Because this isn't the first time that Konechny is kind of tampered off in the second half of the season. I want to see him have a full, strong 82-game role of consistency. Anything you want to add to that before we move to point three?
Just want to say, so Konechny had 76 points in 82 games last year. And but like you said, like he said that he wasn't hurt. I call bullshit.
He may have been hurt.
He was hurt. Because even at Four Nations, I don't remember who said, I had read it somewhere, I heard it somewhere that he wasn't 100% at Four Nations, and that was also one of the reasons why he was on the fourth line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that too, by the way. He was supposed to be hurt at Four Nations.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, I know he was hurt.
But the fact, I just don't get the point of not just saying it at the end of the year, like, hey, I was playing through something. I just wish he just came out.
That's hockey players. Hockey players. They will not use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
Because he could have said, oh, yeah, you know what? I have a busted shoulder, a busted wrist, whatever, so I couldn't. Mm-hmm. No. He's like, no, I was fine. But it's like, that's it.
My thing with Konechny, I want him to show a line of consistency other than this. I would rather have this. Because the second half, this is not the first time. You might, like I said, he could easily come out and shut me the hell up and drop an 85, 90-point season next year and be the player that we signed. Because he was ranked as a top 20 winger last year going into the season, and first half, he was living up to it. So hopefully we get first half Konechny again, for sure. What's your point three?
Oh, this one was hard because I don't really have that much negative thoughts about this upcoming season, but I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, what if everything just goes to shit? Point
three, everything is a giant fuck up.
No, but what if what if Zegras just doesn't adapt to the team and he can't play center and he's just and injuries have caught whatever reason are hurting him and he's just a 30-40 point guy and I don't know, Dvorak's nothing more than a 4C and
Eric, sound the alarm. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think about that. I was like, I gotta play this.
No, but then again, I tell myself, but okay, if everything does kind of go to shit, I guess it's also bittersweet because if we finish let's say in the bottom 5 again, and it's okay, but now at least we have a chance. McKenna. So, but yeah, no, that would probably have to be 3, all the additions and all everything that they've added to this team, and the kids that are supposed to come up, like if they don't hit that level that we think they're gonna hit, I think that's probably my third point. And again, it would suck. It would kind of set this team back, I guess, a little bit because maybe they're not as close as they think they are. But I don't see that happening. But it is kind of a concern. You have to respect. It's like because like I said, like Zegras has come off 2 seasons where he wasn't that great, and like uh, you know, so we'll see, But I don't foresee it. But it's something we have to keep in mind.
Valid. So, I mean, this one's probably going to sound a little cliche because we all know this has been a concern for quite some time, and I still worry about the goaltending. Like, I will say I am more confident in the goalies this year than last year. There's no question about it. Like, you can't get any worse than last year. But what are you going to get with Urson? Is Urson going? I feel like when we've seen Sam Urson play, you get two versions of him. You get the Sam Urson that can play lights out for about 8 games in a row, put up a .930 save percentage, and have 2 shutouts, and allow maybe a total of like 12 goals in that game span. And then you have the Urson where the wheels completely fall the fuck off, and he plays like 6 games, and he puts like up an .840 save percentage, and he allows an average of 4.5 goals a game, and he can't hit a cow in the ass with a shovel. So I want consistency in net is really it. I know it's such a cop-out answer, but like you, I had a little bit of trouble on the third one. But we need consistency in net. Vladar, if he can give you what you got in Calgary last year, where he was putting up an .898, that's fine. It's practically league average. That's what you want from your backup goalie is league average. That's great. Now, will he get that under this brand new team? We'll see. He's going to probably get more starts than he's had ever before. His career high in starts is 30. I think he's going to be probably pushing at least to the 36, 37 mark, bare minimum. Because like you, I am wholeheartedly agreeing with you. I do not want Urson to play as a number 1. I'd rather him be as a 1A at most. If you can get, let's say, 45-37 or 44-38, that would be good. But that is a bit of a step forward in games played for a guy like Vladar. Like we mentioned just now, his career high is 30. And that's not even counting all the other years. He's going to beat that this year. I think that's as long as both goalies are healthy, he's beating that. Or as long as he's healthy, I should say. Because if Urson's hurt, he's playing a lot more than 30. But
sorry. Can I just say you've got 2 NHL goalies this year? Yes. You didn't have that last year.
We had half an NHL goalie last year. And I say half because Urson was a NHL goalie half the time.
Yeah, but he's going to have an NHL goalie backing him up. I would think it's going to be better. So I would think it's going to be better for goaltending.
I do still worry, though, just in the big picture, that I want it because Vladar is playing a brand new career high, and is Urson going to give you consistency? Because his highs are highs, his lows are lows.
But that's what Vladar's. When Urson falls off in a game, Vladar goes in.
And that's good. And I'm hoping we get 2023 pre-Carter Hart being kicked off the team, Sam Urson. Because when that was happening, this team was playing well. They were a top 3 team in the Metro for the first half of the year before that happened. So if you can get that, that would be great. But the thing was, Sam Urson didn't play even half the games last year because they were such a mix-up in net. Urson had some time being injured. They ran 3 goalies for some time. Kolosov forced his way up here for a bit. Fedotov had a little bit of a hot streak before he fell back to earth and ended up that .870 goalie. So
yeah, but barring injury,
playing that many games last year.
But barring injury, you're going to have 2 NHL goalies. It's more stability. It should be better.
In theory, it should be. But I need to see the level of consistency from Urson, and I need to see Vladar show that he can do it, playing a new career high in games played.
Yeah,
So that's what it really
like
comes down to.
it's not like he's going from 30 to like 45. If he goes from 30 to 35, 36, that's not that bad.
I'm thinking it's going to be a
he's
little higher.
capable.
I think it's going to be like 38.
Okay, but
That's
I think he's
it's a
capable.
step.
He's not a young goalie. He's played a few years. I think you're going to do okay in that this year.
It should be better. I mean, like I said, it can't get any worse. That was a historically bad goalie duo last year. So as long as you can get Urson to have some level of consistency and Vladar to be able to handle the extra workload that he's had before, I expect him to be better, but it's still valid to be worried over both of those things happening. The netminders combination needs to be better. And I'm not wholeheartedly confident it'll be what it needs to be to push for a playoff spot. But I do think it will be better. But how much better is the point? Is it going to be better to our standards? I think is a better way to put it. Eric, anything else to add before we move on to our final point? Next topic.
Yeah, no, I just want to say actually, I don't know why, but I completely forgot to put Urson on my list of injuries. I was talking injuries
no kidding with his
before.
groin issues.
Yeah, because he battled groin issues a couple times last season, and that's a big concern. Because, like you said too, like Vladar's his max has been 30 games. So can he, like, if like there's a long-term injury to Urson, can he handle like the starter load? Because then at that point, like, you still have Fedotov that if maybe he's still in the organization, he then would be your backup. And again, like a lot of people shout on Fedotov last year. I was actually a little higher on him than most people were, so I think he could, like, in spot duty, give you at least a couple good games.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, onto Vladar, like there was a point last season, I think it was between January, February, something like that, where like Wolf really struggled, where Vladar had to take the bulk of the load for Calgary, and he did really well. So I think he's not old, but he's not young either. Like, but I think if I'm not mistaken, he's 27 or 28. So he's hitting that like age where goalies really hit their prime.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried if Vladar has to play like 45 games. I wouldn't be too worried.
I gotcha. It's valid. We'll see. Hopefully everyone stays healthy and the players take that step forward in progression, but we'll see. But with that being said, let's move on to our next segment, over under for the top six. So I'll give a quick brief explanation on this. We're going to be doing the top six players, and we're going to give an over under points scored. So I'm going to give a point amount, and our gracious host, Rick, is going to be taking place in this as well. So we're going to have an outside source giving his honest opinion. So we're going to be doing six players today.
Okay, go.
We're going to be doing six players today. Michkov, Konechny, Tippett, Forster, Couturier, and Zegers. And we're just pretty much I'm going to give a over-under number point total. And me, Eric, and Rick are going to both say over or under and why. So with that being said, we're going to get right into this. Over under. Let's play. So I'm going to start with the guy that probably had the most criticism on the team last year, and that was Owen Tippett. He had a rough year last year. Owen Tippett only put up 20 goals. I'm trying to remember how many points he had off that. I should have probably been prepared for this. I'm going to pull it up right now. 20 goals, 23 assists, 43 total points. So, over or under, we're going to put Owen Tippett's point total at 47.5. Eric, let me start with you. Over or under 47.5 points for Owen Tippett.
Okay, I'm going to be an optimist, and I'm going to say last year was just one of those seasons that you throw away. It was just a goal scorer having a bad season. So I think he goes over the 47.5. Because I'll tell you this, just because look, last year we said we had 43 points last year, and that was a down season. So that's what, another 4 points. I think he could get another 4 goals. Like just touch like 20. Like I expect him to be close to 30 again next year. I think he's gonna simplify his game back to what it was before, play to his strength, and I think he's gonna take off. Plus, like we had mentioned previously, he had zero power play goals last year.
That's nuts.
He'll at least get a couple. I'm assuming he'll at least get a couple.
Yeah,
So for Owen Tippett, I'm going over 47.5.
Rick.
Yeah, I agree with Eric. I'm going over. I think, like I said earlier, right? I think I think with the new coach, he's going to have a new attitude. He's going to want to impress the coach too. As far as that, I think that's going to get him over whatever happened last year. And you might see. I know you guys have been talking about it. You want to see him hit 30. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the year he hits 30. So over.
So the 2 years prior to this, Owen Tippett had 27 goals, 22 assists, 49 points in 77 games played. Then in 78 games played, he had 28 goals, 25 assists, 53 points. I'm going to say over as well. I put it at 47.5 because a lot of people thought of the potential regression and were a little worried. But I wanted to kind of go in between where he was last year and prior years. I'm going to say over. I'm going to put him at 52 points. I'm going to say 25 goals, 27 assists. I still think he'll be right in the middle. I don't know if he quite gets to 30 because the puck's going to be touching a lot of different players' sticks this year, especially if Forster is ready game one. If Forster's not ready game one, maybe I could bump that goal scoring total up a little bit. But if he is, I think 25 is about right. So I'll go 25 goals, 27 assists, 52 points. I got him over.
I'm going to say like 58 points, maybe hit 60.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I just have this feeling that he's
Eric,
going to find his
Rick,
game.
you've always been a Tippett guy, I feel like.
No, not necessarily. I just thought, you recognize the situation. I think this guy bounces back from that bad season with the new coach and the new outlook. And yeah, I just think that, maybe 60 points.
Valid. All right. Next guy. Tyson Forster. So this one's a little bit of a wild card because we do or do not know if he is going to be ready for game one yet. So let's play this under the assumption he is ready game one. I don't know for sure, but we're going to just, for the sake of argument, say he's ready game one. Tyson Forster last year had 25 goals and 17 assists. He had 42 total points. People are clamoring. Now it might be his chance to break out. I'm sorry, he had 25 goals, 18 assists. He had 43 points. So people could be arguing he could be pushing for that 30-goal plateau himself. But the lack of training camp and training time could hamper that a little bit. I'm going to put his point total only because of the potential lack of time to get ready as the same as Owen Tippett. I'm putting it at 47.5 points. Over or under? Eric, start us away.
Oh man, this one's really hard because of the injury factor, Like even if he starts the season, like how healthy is he gonna be? 47.5, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go under because I think again, the injury is a big concern for me. I think he could probably replicate what he did last year. But like I said, again, with the lack of training camp, if he's not ready at training camp, if he doesn't come into the season 100%, if he misses time, I'm gonna say he's gonna come close to that 47.5. But if he's not healthy, I think it's just gonna be just under.
Valid. Rick?
For me, I say this: if he misses camp and has to kind of start a little bit behind that way, he comes in under. But I think if he's there for camp and he has a full camp, I think he breaks it by a couple of points. So not knowing, since we're going kind of that he's going to be ready for the start of the season, I'm going to assume that means he had training camp. And I'll say just over.
So, you know me. I am the number one fan of the Tyson Forster fan club. I want to see this dude kick some ass. He's my new Wayne Simmons. Like, there was always a guy that wasn't like a superstar, but was a good player on the team that I always loved. And that's Tyson Forster for me. I want to see this dude break out, but the murkiness of the injury scares me. I think he's going to be right at close to 50 points if he's ready day one. I'm going to say over, but just barely, which could prevent him from having the possible breakout season that we could be expecting. If this elbow injury didn't happen and he was 100%, because he was kicking ass at Worlds when he was playing with some of the stars over there at the end of the year. He looked like a world beater. So if we were going to get that Tyson Forster who took that extra step, forget 50. I'd be pushing over 60 points for this guy this year. But since that's not the case, I'm going to say over, but barely. I'm going to say 49 points, 27 goals, 22 assists. I think it does hold him back a little, but he does take a little bit of a step forward. All right, next, Sean Couturier. Now, Couturier is an interesting one in this. This is his second healthy season since all the back surgeries and core surgeries he had. 2 years ago in 74 games, he had 11 goals, 27 assists, 38 points, was a -10. Really didn't look like himself, especially the second half of the year. He really fell off. But last year, you kind of saw some signs of the Couturier of old. It wasn't obviously prime Selke Couturier, but you saw flashes here and there, and he looked better, especially second half of the year. He didn't tail off, and on as bad of a team as this was, he went +1. I mean, you know me, how much I shit on plus minus, but for a guy like that, I guess that's something you can look in a positive mindset too. 15 goals, 30 assists, 45 points last year. Does he replicate that? Does he build off that? And with Zegras here, what's his role going to be? I'm going to put Couturier at 45.5 points this year. Eric, over or under? Sean Couturier.
I actually think he's gonna go over. I think, you know what? There was issues there with Tortorella. They just did not get along, or Tortorella felt that, like, for whatever reason, that like Coots, like, he wasn't fast enough, or he didn't play with enough pace. I don't know what it was. There was some kind of disconnect there. I think with Tocchet, I think the system is going to be better for Couturier. I think it's going to be, and I think he could play more to his strengths. So I think he actually goes over. He's gonna have more points, because if you think about also, like, the way he finished the season and the way he started the season, if he could play like a whole season just close to how he finished, like, I think that he's definitely. I think he might not get 60, but I think he could flirt with that, like, around 55. And I think that would be like a great number for Coots if he can stay healthy, and if he can pass it, even better. But I think he's going over.
If he gets that, that's 2C numbers right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's worth the contract at that point. Well, not worth the contract, but it makes it better, I should say.
Well, don't you think that's where he's going to play, though, 2C?
Well, no, I think he might start the year at 1C. There is a real shot, especially with how him, Konechny, and Michkov ended the season last year. So they're probably going to start him at the 1C spot. But he might eventually transition down to the 2C or even 3C at some point, depending on how he plays. He's kind of going to be all over the lineup. 2 years ago, they had him at 4C for a lot of the second half of the year when he was starting to get healthy scratched. So he could be anywhere. It's a big question mark with Couturier for sure.
Okay, well, that's interesting info to have. And what, 45.5? If he's going to play on, he's going to be in the top 6 is what I think. So depending on which line, but if you're right, I didn't know that about last year. So if he was playing well, they'll probably start him there on the line 1. If that's the case, he's going to, I think, over. How much over, I don't know, but I would say over.
I'm also going to say over, but barely over. I'm going to have him at about 47 points. I think he benefited playing a lot with Michkov and Konechny, 2 scoring wingers, even though I just kind of crapped on Konechny a little bit. But, they kind of elevated each other in a way. But I also think he was healthier too last year. I thought we saw, as I mentioned, a better Couturier. I thought he was much better defensively. He was great in the dot, and he was showing that offensively a little bit. I'm going to put Couturier at 17 goals, 30 assists, 47 points this year. I have him over. All right. Up next, the new guy, Trevor Zegras. Zegras, first year here in Philly. Last year in Anaheim was not a good year for him. He's had back-to-back rough years in Anaheim. Last year, 57 games played, 12 goals, 20 assists, 32 points. Year before that, he only played 31 games, had 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. For the 2 years prior, 75 games, 23 goals, 38 assists, 61 points. And then 22-23 at 81 games played, 23 goals, 42 assists, 65 points. So, Trevor Zegras, this is going to be the fun one, I think. I'm going to set his over-under at 59.5. With the new start, more opportunity to play on the offensive side. There is injury risk. He's had it the last 2 years, so we'll see. So Trevor Zegras, 59.5. Let's have some fun with this. Over or under, Aaron?
Ooh, 59.5. Okay.
It's a good spot to put the over-under.
Good.
You know what? I like to consider myself the mayor of positivity. So I'm going over. Zegras will go over 59.5. He's going to hit that 60-point, at the very least, that 60-point mark again for a third time in his season. I think with if he can legitimately be, because like, look, in Anaheim, he was taking a step back behind Leo Carlson, behind McTavish, and those guys. And like, again, they were trying to play a very defensive game, did not get along with Cronin. So these
I don't think anyone did.
Nobody did, yeah.
No, exactly. So you know what? And I was just like, he was on pace with the points he had last year with the games played. He was on pace for about like 46 to 47 points, which obviously does not help my case. But I think with the with playing alongside, if he does like with Mishkov or even like a TK, depending on where he plays, on a hopefully improved power play. I think he could flirt with 60 points, maybe even 65. So yeah, if he gets an elevated role, like to be the primary like offensive force on this team, like I think I did it like when we did our lines. I want him to play with Mishkov and like either a Forster, but if he's healthy, or a Noah Cates to give a little bit of extra defensive help, but at the same time still some offense. I can see him. I can see him hitting that 65 points.
Yeah, I say they didn't trade for him to not be a top 6 player. So that's number one. The outlook he must have coming into Philadelphia, coming from that horrible situation in Anaheim, I think has to make a difference in his game. So I'm going to say over. Again, I don't know. He has the ability maybe to go a good bit over, but even if it's just like Eric said, 60 points. Yeah, I think he's going to come into your team and just be really happy to be there. And I think that makes a huge difference for a player that had the potential that he had.
I'm with you guys. I have him exactly at 60 points. I barely have him over, but I got him over. I think he finds his game again. Now, the big thing with him, more than him finding his game to me, is his durability. Because his last 2 years, he was pretty injured. And that is a worry. No question about that.
But sometimes injuries and then you're wanting to come back from injury has a lot to do with who your coach is and how happy you are going to the rink.
It can be a mental game. I will not argue that for sure. If he can stay healthy and durable, that's big. I think he gets over it. I'm going to put him 22 goals, 38 assists, 60 points on the dot. I think he just cracks over. Misses a little bit of time at some point in the year, maybe like a 5 or 6 game span. I'll put him at 60 points in 76 games. It's my spot for him. All right. Travis Konechny. This is going to be a fun one. So TK has been showing progression year after year. His point total has gone up each of the last 5 seasons. 2021, he had 50 games played, 11 goals, 23 assists, 34 points. Then 21-22, 79 games played, 16-36, 52 points. 22-23 was a point per game guy, but he did miss quite a bit of time. 60 games played, 31 goals, 30 assists, 61 points. 2 years ago, he was an all-star. 76 games played, 33 goals, 35 assists, 68 points. Then last year, he had a step back in goals scored, played all 82 despite him saying, despite the rumors of his injury. 24 goals, 52 assists, 76 points. So, that being said, I'm going to set the bar a little higher for Konechny this year.
I would think. You want to make it difficult.
80 and a half points.
Ooh.
80?
Over or under?
Ooh.
Let's have some fun.
Ooh,
with
that's interesting. Go ahead. Don't
Eric,
you go first
80
there,
and a half
Bobby.
points. Over or under? Is Konechny going to take another step? Or is he going to flatline a little?
Well, look, I've said it before. I think Konechny was hurt last year. Regardless of what he says, he was playing hurt. I think we had mentioned in a previous pod. I think it's because like you look and like you said before, like his assists more or less towards the second half of the season stayed more or less the same. It's his goal scoring that really dropped. And I had noticed there was a couple games you look at him shoot, and he did not have that same zip on his shots. His shots were not as strong. I think it was either his shoulder, an elbow, there was a wrist. I don't know, but it was something with his arm. I think he will go over the 80. If he stays 100% healthy, I think he goes over a point per game. If he plays the 82, now how over? I don't know. Like, could he hit 100 points? I don't think so. But like, could he flirt with 90?
He was on pace at one point last year before he started fading.
Exactly. Like a lot of last year, you looked at his point, like his points per game, and like his what would average it out? He was flirting with that 90 to 92, 95 point range. So I think if he's 100% healthy, now again with like you're adding a Zegras, if your power play could be a lot better, like these are extra points that he could accumulate during the year that he didn't last year. So I feel like he could hit over 80 points.
If you compare him, and I think last year they were on a similar pace to Nick Suzuki, captain of Montreal. Different position, I know, but the point pace, I think at one point was very similar. Suzuki ended up with 89 points.
Yep.
If he's healthy, yeah, it's an over, and I think he can, like you're saying, I think he can flirt with 90. I don't see anything at all out of question. It's going to be on. I think he was injured too. The rumor was it was on the around the show, whatever, it was affecting his slap shot when he played Montreal. You guys played Montreal. It looked like there was something wrong compared to before the early game. And, I think over. Yeah.
So this is going to go with health for sure. If what you guys say is accurate, and he was playing through an injury, which he may well have been, and just gave the generic answer to say, no, I'm fine. I'm a hockey player. I was out there.
Well, hockey players do.
Then I think he can get over that and should get over that. But if this was more mental than physical, I might hesitate a little bit. I'm going to say he gets over it, and I'm going to put him at 34 goals and 51 assists, 85 points. That would be, 85-point season. 34 goals, 51 assists, 85 points. I think he gets over it, but just barely over it. All right. Last but not least, saving the biggest.
I know who this is going to be.
Matvey Michkov. Last year, Michkov came into the league and played excellent, lived up to the player that we expected. I remember looking at the beginning of the year, the sports books had him, his over-under was, I think, 46.5 points. He shattered. He ended up with 63 points.
I have to admit, I was wrong on him that way.
He had 26 goals, 37 assists, 80 games played, even had healthy scratch twice. And that's despite only having less than 17 minutes of ice time a game. He averaged 16 minutes and 41 seconds a game on the ice. 63 points. Over under for him, I thought about this a little bit. I was like, I expect him to take a step, but how big of a step? So I'm going to put the over-under at 74.5 points. Over or under 74.5 for a 21-year-old Matvei Michkov, his age 2021 season.
Can I start?
You start, Rick. We're going to have the critics start. Let's hear it.
So last season, Matvei pissed me to fuck off every time near the end of the season when he started to score again and he was creeping up on Hudson because I wanted Hudson to win the Calder.
Obviously.
So I underrated him last season, so there's no doubt. I think he steps up a little bit. I think you have it even low, and I'm going to easily say over because I'd be surprised. Well, he's going to have more ice time, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an improved power play, and he's going to thrive on the power play. That's where he's going to thrive mostly, right? Yeah, I would think he's going to flirt with a point a game. So it's definitely over for me.
Eric.
Oh yeah, no. I think I'm gonna take the over also. Like he is a Russian machine.
He's not Russian.
Did you see his neck in that last interview? Like there was an interview I saw like about a week or two ago. Like huge.
Have you seen his legs, bro?
Oh,
his legs look like they're chiseled out of fucking stone.
Yeah, they all.
Like,
oh my god!
I think like last year he got the taste of the NHL, and now he knows what it takes, what kind of training he needs to do, and I think he's gonna take it up a notch in the offseason. He's gonna train properly because you saw it also like when we were playing back-to-back games or like 3 and 4 nights or whatever that like he would start to slow down. And there was that point, like there was about a month and a half in the season where his point totals just dropped because I guess he was fatigued or whatever. But then after the formation, he comes back and he's like a new player completely. So I don't see those ups and downs like last year that like he had. I think now he's going to come in focused. He's going to come in prepared. He knows what he has to do. And 74.5. I think, he goes over. And just quick, like Rick said, the power play improved. He ended up with 17 points on the power play last year on a dreadful power play.
Yeah.
So if he even just gets another like 10 points, let's say he gets another 10 points added to like the point total that he had from last year, he's already close to 74.5.
That's going to be his strength. Power play, I think this year, that's going to be his strength. He's going to surprise you maybe even with the numbers there.
And that's going to be a big X factor just for the Flyers season in general is the power play. So, we'll see. I think he goes over 74.5.
So I put it at 74.5 mainly because I wanted to see what Rick was going to say. I wanted to
You
put it
figured that.
I felt like it would be realistic for him. I just wanted to see what I'd get out of him.
I figured that.
Realistically, I think he shatters that number. I have him, so I definitely have him over. I don't think I picked an under out of all of these. I did have some overs that were barely overs, though, to be fair.
No, your numbers were good. They were good places, yeah.
But I think he shatters this. I think you have your next franchise caliber player. We had a former co-host whose name who will not be named on the Pucking Around podcast who scoffed at the idea that I thought Matvei Michkov was going to be a 40-goal at least a year guy when he hits his prime. He put 26 on his rookie year with that type of ice time and a crap power play.
Well, he's got potential for it.
He is going to beat that this year and then some. Ready for this prediction. 37 goals, 55 assists, 92 points.
Wow.
Matvei arrives. And I'm going to tell you, he's going to get more ice time. The power play is going to dramatically improve. He's got a better center now who has the same mindset as he does. Offensively, maybe not as skilled, but what a guy like Zegras, you saw him really start to break out when he had a two-way guy like a Torrier and a guy with the skill set of Konechny. They're not going to fuck around like they did last year, putting him on the line with guys like Rodrigo Abols and Ryan Poehling anymore. You're not fucking around with that anymore. And he had 2 healthy scratches too, so that would have been a sprinkle in potentially more points as well. So if you get 82 games of Matvei Michkov, I think you're going to get 92 points of Matvei Michkov this year. I
Bold
think
prediction.
you got the real deal coming. He arrives. Anything else for over-under, boys, before we move on to our final mini segment on this?
I've only got this to say. Don't worry about the pause. We just go right into it and be fine.
So, final segment here. This one's going to be quick. Playoffs or not? Eric, I'll start with you. Do you think this team is got enough to make the playoff this year, or is playoffs or bust, aka the name of this episode? And if not, what year do they need to start making the playoffs by?
Look, do I think there's enough talent on this roster that if everything goes well, they could sneak into a playoff spot? Call me crazy, I do. I honestly do. Will they though? Is the question, and I don't think so. I think they're gonna flirt with a playoff spot pretty much all season. Think they're gonna come close, but they'll probably end up finishing a one or like 3 to 4 points or 1 or 2 points, something like that, just out of the wild card. Because again, like, look, how many times does everything go right? Like, there's always something that's gonna go wrong. So I just again, like, I think on paper, if everything goes right, like I said, I think they do have a chance, but the teams in front of them, like other teams that got better in the Atlantic, or the Atlantic's a super strong division, and our division's a little weaker. I'm not 100% sold on the Rangers, but like, we'll see. But again, like I said, I don't think they make the playoffs. I think the season where no, like, you have to make the playoffs, but at least that is the 27-28 season. So like, not this season, not the next, but the one after. That's when you have to be a consistent playoff team. I think that's when you have to be like, if you're not in the playoffs by then we got problems. But I think, yeah, but I think the next couple of years they're going to be at least flirting with a playoff spot.
Valid. All right, me. Do I consider it playoffs or bust? Probably not, but I think next year I do. This year, I think they're going to be battling. Do I think they make the playoffs? It's so hard. I think they'll be pushing for it. I think they'll be significantly better, but I'm going to say no as well, but not by much. I do think they're going to be in the 80-ish point range. Probably the mid-80s is where I got them right now. I think they missed playoffs by about 5 or 6 points, maybe, if that. I think they're going to be picking right around 12 or 13, if you had to ask me today. I think you see a season similar to 2 years ago, maybe not with the type of fall off, but around how close they are to the playoffs. But I do think that the Atlantic is loaded. I mean, you have already superpowers and the 2 Florida teams. Toronto is still good. Montreal's on the come up. Ottawa finally broke through last year. Eiserman in Detroit knows the desperation that they've got to push for a playoff spot too. Buffalo's Buffalo, so whatever. Who am I missing out of the Atlantic shit? Oh, the Bruins. Yeah, they're in a rebuild too. They're right there with Buffalo. They're not going anywhere. So here with us, it could be 3, and if you're lucky, 4 teams out of the Metro. I think it's a real chance it's only 3. Maybe a 1 in 3 chance it's 4. It definitely won't be 5 because the Atlantic's better than the Metro for sure. I give them a 40% chance to make playoffs. I think it's less than 50. I'll give them 40. The goaltending has to take a significant step forward. The power play has to take a significant step forward. And a lot of the individual players do as well. And the players have to buy into the coach's message. If you get your defensive structure to have the same progression you're getting now, that's a positive. Now, when do they have to start making playoffs? I'm putting it a year earlier than you. I think it's 26-27. I really do. Okay. Mainly because of all the cap you have freeing up. Next year, this year, you don't have to. But next year, when you have all that cap freeing up, Martone will be probably on the roster. You probably add one more good draft pick to this team. You got to start pushing. That's when you got to start making playoffs, or at least being very close to it. I'm going to say make playoffs. So 26-27, this team's going to have, after all their contracts are signed, probably about $30 million to spend. Now, mind you, Matvei Michkov will get it, and you need some of that money for a Michkov extension, but you should be able to add at least 2 significant pieces through free agency or trade next year. So this year, the pressure's not on, but you want to see a step. Next year, you better be at least on the cusp, if not in the playoffs.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Go
very
for it.
quickly? You know, I don't think you make the playoffs this year, but you're probably going to flirt a little bit with it. You're not making the playoffs till you guys get better down the middle. So when you're stronger down the middle, I think that's when you start making the playoffs.
And that's valid, I think. And, you know, I think that's where the free agency is going to come into this. I think they're going to draft another center or two next year to potentially come up. I mean, they loaded up this pool. I think the Flyers have arguably a top 10 prospect pool in the league now. I think every pick except the Nesbitt pick, I liked. Although I will, like I admitted a few episodes ago, I didn't know who Van Saggy was at the time. Now that I've read more on him, I like him a lot. But outside of the Nesbitt pick, I loved a lot of the picks in the first 2 rounds. I think that's what next year's offseason will be, is to add another top 6 center to really solidify this team to be ready to make a push for the playoffs. So that's why I kind of put 26-27 as the benchmark here.
With the Habs, we had the same thing. They got stronger down the middle, and you see the results. So I think you're at that spot where you got to get stronger down the middle.
I think we are right now where you were maybe 2 years ago.
Yep.
We're getting close.
That's fair.
And where you were last year is what we will be next year, I think.
If it breaks right, yeah.
All right. So with that being said, that's going to wrap things up on today's episode of Flyer Gonna Flyer. Thank you all for tuning in. Next episode, as I mentioned, will be our 50th episode. That will just be likely with me and Jamey. As mentioned, Eric is going away to Italy. He's going to bring us some awesome treats to souvenirs. And our 50th episode, we have a massive special guest announcement to make. But we're not saying it yet. It's going to be next episode. So it's going to give you guys a reason to tune into episode 50. It's just going to be me and Jamey for that episode. And then sometime in September, this special guest will be tuning in. So with all that being said, that's going to wrap this up. Thank you all for tuning in, everyone. As always, let's go Flyers. Check out our DPWM website in the link in the description below. And we'll see you next time for our 50th episode. Take care, everyone. Let's go Flyers.
And have a great trip, Eric, to Italy.
Yeah, that too.